Well, today we're going to be talking about blogging and why it is so important for you as a photographer and as a marketing tool. Prez is going to be on with us today. I'm so excited. He's an internet marketing specialist with over 10 years of experience. His expertise in SEO, social media, email marketing, and web design has been shared in dozens of top photography magazines, and now we have him here at the Snap Society. So grab a pen and get ready to take some mad notes. Hey Zach, thanks so much for joining us here at the Snap Society. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Jamie. I love talking about everything web and online. This will be fun.
Yeah, so we have not really talked about blogging, which is such a huge, important subject when it comes to photographers. And so I'm really excited that you're going to share with us some tips on blogging. So first of all, why is blogging so important for photographers?
Every time you do a blog post, it's like a marketing brochure. This is a page created online that can be found in search engines, shared in social media, blasted out through your email newsletter. So imagine having the opportunity to create dozens of brochures, throughout the year that continually push to potential clients, and then they can refer to their friends. So blogging is probably the most important online action any photographer is going to take this year.
So do you think that just blogging our sessions is enough, or do we need to be blogging more than that?
That's a great question, and I don't believe that sessions is enough. In fact, if all you did was blog about your sessions, you would be just like every other photographer out there. It's the same as just posting a gallery. If somebody subscribes to your email, by the third session you send them, they're going to unsubscribe. If somebody follows you on Facebook, by about the second week of session material, they'll lose interest. So you need to expand beyond the sessions. It's still important to have sessions, because every time you do a session, that's some unique niche at a certain venue or location or time of year. And it's good to brand yourself about those things, but you need more than that. You need educational material that's going to be in the interest of the reader, not what's in your interest. So, for example, if I want to sell something, I don't email or post on social media saying, buy this. I share great related information, and then when that person's ready to buy, they will come ask me, hey, what do you offer? So I like to push out great content, and photographers can do this too. You can be blogging about how to arrange photos at home. You can have a guide for how to arrange photos that people can sign up for with their email address. You can be talking about wall displays and how to organize prints on the wall, which is a great upsell, because if you show a display that's got really big prints, then when those people buy from you, they're going to want to mimic that and buy those same big prints.
Right.
So it's still in your interest, but you're talking about educational material. Like in the holidays, it might be what are the top photo gifts to buy, like who's selling ornaments, frames, and photo books, and you could be talking about like the quality of print paper and why you shouldn't get your photos printed at Walmart or Costco.
Oh yeah, that would be a good topic.
They help showcase your expertise, but they're also training your audience on what you do. I mean, why does it take or cost so much to buy photos? Because of all the editing that's involved, and what are actions? And when you talk about all these tools that you're using as a professional, people are willing to pay more. And you're also educating them, through that cycle, that this is why they're paying more, and this is what makes you a pro.
Yeah, I love that, and I love how it really sets you apart. The writing an article about why it costs more than going to Portrait Innovations or Sears or something like that. I love that idea of, really laying out what you're going to be getting coming to you versus going to a generic place like that. Yeah.
So what you would do is you're always going to have your session posts, but you'll intersperse those with what the marketing world calls cornerstone or evergreen posts. These are a handful of posts that any first-time visitor should read kind of, to get started with you. It's the things like, what's involved with a photo session, how do you prepare for a session, what to wear guides. Those are all the kind of pre-sales posts. And then post-session would be how to organize photos, quality of photo albums, those types of things.
Yeah. So is there a way to, if you've written an article and you want it to go back on top, you know how it goes down, and you want it to go back on top, is the only way to do that to actually change the date of the article and make the date more recent?
No, and we should back up a step to promote WordPress. WordPress.org is the blogging platform of the universe. Almost every site you see on the internet is WordPress. So make sure you're using WordPress for your website and blog platform. And WordPress allows you to pin a post to the top. So if you go to my site, photographyspark.com, what you see first is what I want you to see first. It's not my most recent material. It's the 2 posts that I think are most likely to get you to buy something. They introduce me. They're very foundational posts. Everybody would want to see those first. Those are stuck to the top. You can Google pinning to the top or sticky posts. So for a photographer, this is your best post. It's about you. Here's the niches you do. It's your best 10 photos. Here's links to your top galleries. So really, with starting the client at the top, they come into the site through this first sticky post, and then they funnel down to the key things you want them to see. Because whatever you posted last week might not be your best work, or might not be relevant to the person coming. It might be a maternity session when the person looking at your site's a bride. So it's good to have that sticky post like you mentioned.
Yeah. So here's another question. How personal should you get on your blog? So I guess there are some moms who become photographers and their blog is really personal, and they have created this very committed following, and I think the following likes to sort of hear their personal life or hear, but at the same time there's also, TMI, and maybe it's not keeping it professional. I mean, so what is your advice on that?
Yeah, another outstanding question, and it's probably the next best tip I would recommend after starting a blog is you want your potential clients to know who you are. When I first started marketing to photographers, I hid behind a logo for about a year because I thought, well, I don't want them to know who I am. I want to keep personal separate from business. And I took these courses that basically said the first thing you want to do is show yourself. And the moment I did that, suddenly people were commenting on my posts. They were emailing me, asking me questions. They were recognizing me at events and forums. So by showing me, now people felt comfortable approaching me as a person when they might not feel comfortable approaching a business. So it's still good to have a business logo, but you want to show your headshot everywhere. And Snap Society is a perfect example of that. You instantly know that Jamie is the one putting this together. And you see her, and, Jamie, you're a lot like me, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust the stuff that she's putting out there. Very personal. So suddenly I've got this trust, and I know who you are, and so when somebody says, where do I go for information, I say, oh, Jamie shares the best stuff. You got to go over to her. So that's very important to do. Show who you are, be personal. Like, for example, an About page, if your About page says, you shoot weddings and newborn sessions, and you live in Sacramento, I mean, it's like, very boring.
Right.
Like my page says, I wear a Claddagh ring. I am a champion at Miss Pac-Man. I like to ride bikes. I drink tea. I'm a dad, a soccer coach. I love Seinfeld. And I get people sending me messages on Twitter like, oh, did you see the Seinfeld episode where this happened?
Right.
Or, oh, I love Manchester United Football Club in England. What's your favorite team? So by sharing that personal information, now you've made a very personal connection to your clients, and that can go a long way. They're more likely to buy from you, recommend you, visit you, and engage on social media too.
And let me just say, it is not easy to put your picture on your website. For the Snap Society, that was particularly difficult for me, but I was like, I want people to know that I'm human behind this and that I connect. But also, I'll see photographers putting a picture of their kids for the About page, or, you know, a picture of a great picture that they've taken, but it's not of them, and I'm going, okay, I know that you're not a, you know, senior or a child, you know, so I think that that's so important.
If your headshot looks kind of like this, right, where you're like kind of cropped, somebody else is like cropped over here, because you took, you know, some random picture, I mean, that makes you look horrible. So, definitely get a professional headshot for your social pages and your website. I mean, after all, you're a photographer. Headshot.
Okay, so when people are writing sessions about their, or blogs about their session, do they need to write anything? Or can they just put pictures up, and how much should they be writing?
Yeah, the most important thing is getting text on the page for Google, and Google wants about 300 words to be confident that there's something there to answer the user's question. Let's say I search for Hilton Hotel Wedding in Sacramento. Google is not going to recommend a page that's got 3 images and no text, because the user can't possibly get everything they need to know out of that little bit of information. So you definitely need text. Photographers hate to hear this, because most of the time they're not writers, they don't want to write, they don't like to write, they don't know what to say, and they just want to put their pictures up. And that's the #1 thing that's going to kill you in search engines. So what are some tips to get more text on the page? Describe the session like you would to me on the phone. It's, you know, it's not Sacramento photography, wedding professional, Hilton Hotel. It's not a list of keywords. It was a beautiful day in Sacramento, you know, last weekend, and I love shooting at this venue because, you know, X, Y, and Z, and, you know, here's the families that were involved. So it's telling a story. Just like if your friend asked you on the phone, hey, how was that wedding last week? That's what you're starting to write. And then between each image, write a caption. So you got 20 images, 10 words for each caption. Right there is 200 words. And then at the end, after they've read a little bit of intro and looked at your images and they like you, what do you want them to do? You want them to hire you right then. So you need a call to action at the end. Hey, if you like these photos, here's what I want you to do. Give me a call. When I take you over to that wedding venue, I'll give you a sneak peek preview behind the scenes. If you like these photos, here's 3 other blog posts that have similar photos. And by the way, I'm an expert at, you know, whatever this post was. I've shot hundreds of weddings here. This is my favorite park. It's in my backyard. Or I love doing studio sessions, and I'm really good with kids. I'm a mom of 3. It's really convincing them that whatever they just read, you are the perfect solution for. Why is that? And what do you want them to do? You want them to call you, contact you, sign up for your newsletter, follow you on Facebook. It's all those things. Because if you don't have that at the end, you're just going to go back to the email or back to Google. And that adds a lot of text, or you know, at least a paragraph or 2. So it's not too hard when you think about it.
Yeah, those are great tips. I love that. Okay, and the last question I have for you is how often do you need to be posting?
It can vary. So it depends on how much time you have, how many sessions you're doing. Ideally, you would have 1 post a week. If you're already doing 1 post a week, you're fine. You don't need to be posting 3 or 5 times a week. If you are posting less than once a month, you're probably not posting enough. You don't have anything on your site to promote in social media. Google is going to get bored of your site and might think you don't exist anymore. Like a friend of mine was ranked #1 in Sacramento for years for everything. And after she stopped blogging, which I didn't know she stopped blogging, she called me up. She's like, I dropped from #1 to #10. What happened? And so we were looking at all these things, and we figure out, well, she hadn't blogged in like 4 or 5 months. As soon as she posted 1 new post, back to the top again. So Google wants you to be relevant. Your client wants, you know, clients want to see what's fresh and relevant. So I'd say between 1 and 4 posts a month would be awesome.
Okay, so let me back up just real quick. You said at the end of post to have, you know, if you like this post, you may want to check out this post.
I manually will choose.
Okay.
So if you like this post, here's the next post that I want you to read.
Do you show them a link to click on or an actual picture to click on?
I just have one link. And I usually, if it's that important, I'll put it at the top of the post as well.
Okay.
So intro paragraph, you may also want to check out this post. And a lot of times I'm referring people back to the same handful of posts.
Okay.
So if I've got a post about Hilton Hotel, I might recommend my general wedding gallery at the end of that, or a general post about weddings, in addition to maybe another post about Hilton Hotel. But not everything I write is great, so I usually have 3 to 5 really awesome ones. Like right now I've got this post with 80 marketing ideas for photographers. I push that in almost every other post because I know they'll love it, and I want to send them there because they're likely to do something with me after reading that.
Right.
But a lot of people want to automate. They'll also want to put their same bio at the end of every post. But the truth is, you have to think about the one client that's looking at that post. What do they want to do next? And it's different every time. And if you're talking about Hilton Hotel, you need to say you're the best at the Hilton Hotel, not necessarily you're a great wedding / newborn / maternity photographer.
Right.
So it's worth the time, even if it's not on every post. Maybe you don't do it on session posts.
Yeah.
But definitely do it on your key, most important posts.
Yeah, and we will have a link, by the way, to that post that he was talking about for marketing for photographers, too, at the bottom of this. So, okay, so is there anything else that you want to share with us about blogging that we didn't hit?
You can substitute your entire website with a blog. So people think they need a site and a blog.
Yes.
Those are now the same thing. I recommend everybody's homepage be their latest posts with a sticky post at the top. So don't be afraid to go out and get that WordPress site and make your blog your primary homepage. No splash page, no gallery pages. Get straight into the blog because
that's for SEO?
Sharing. Well, it's great for mobile, actually.
Okay.
You can see 10 posts at the same time just with a flick, flick, flick. So in 3 seconds, I see everything you have to offer without clicking at all.
Yeah.
And you're going to have 30% or more of your traffic from mobile. But it's also helpful for email marketing, social media, and Google as well. It pretty much covers everything.
So you feel like a blog site has as much credibility as a separate website and then a separate blog?
Yeah, it will be better in the eyes of your clients because they can control the experience. They don't have to click as often, and you'll be promoting yourself more because it reaches Google and everything else.
Okay, and if you're looking for a place to find a blog site, ProPhoto is great. That's what I use actually for my website. So there's a link over on the side there if you want to check out ProPhoto. Okay, Zach, thank you so much for all your great information and tips about blogging. I'm so excited that we got you here on the show, and I'll make sure to put those links at the bottom, and we'd love to have you come back sometime.
Thanks a lot. I look forward to it.
All right, and thank you so much for joining us here at the Snap Society, where everything clicks.